Hi, John. Welcome to this video podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, hi Devidita. Good morning. Like we already know, like John Felix started my career as an application developer from IBM and been there like for 2.5 years, and then went for my MBA. I had my MBA in information science from XIMB. That was my entry point into product management. Had a couple of stints with two startups, one with the Indian market and other one that was catering their offers to US market. So had a good amount of exposure in product management for a couple of years, and then uh, started my role with Walmart for the last 2 years. I'm working as a senior product manager here, and hobby as such, like I'm a fan of cricket. I play cricket as well, so I do a bit of analysis in my pastime regarding cricket.
So, John, coming to product management, can you give your view on the space and some key metrics used in your industry and future prospects of this industry?
So product management as such is not very well defined, right? So it's basically a role that is kind of multidimensional, and definition is something that that is coming up nicely. But as of today, it is more like you just work to get the product out, and a product that is needed for customers for fulfilling their needs and wants. I would say it's a mix of strategic, tactical, and some of the interpersonal responsibilities. Yeah, so you need to be good at all these things. But one key thing that I always have in my mind as a product manager is, if you ask me to define that in a word or something, like it would be voice of the user. So whatever conversations I get in, wherever I involve in an argument or discussion, I always represent the voice of the user. That's when I think that is the line that is drawn between product and the other stakeholders that we interact with. Basically, the motto is to create successful and valuable product that meets the customer needs and wants, like I already mentioned. In terms of digital products, you all have different stages, right? I'm especially talking about the software product management in this interview. It's all about taking ownership of different stages that you have in the product life cycle. Chip in wherever uncertainties come in, because you don't have a fixed responsibility tagged against you. So wherever you encounter uncertainties in your product management journey, that comes as a natural responsibility of the product manager. I think that's pretty much how I define product management as a function, with the main focus or motto of being a voice of the user and playing an active role with all the stakeholders that you have within an organization. So that's pretty much how I define product management as.
John, can you explain me the difference between your interview experience when you interviewed for the, let's say, the startup versus MNC? How was it different?
The interview with startup, it was more like technical as in they were testing my hard skills in terms of product design, my problem solving skills. They gave me a case study, and they asked me to come up with an approach and stuffs like that. In MNC, it was more a holistic approach where a bit of weight was given towards my hardcore product management skills, but a lot of emphasis were given on other aspects, like how I interact with the tech team, or how I manage the stakeholders from the internal and external aspects, and all the soft skills as well. It's more of a holistic approach towards interview, where an active or any an important weightage was given to product management skills.
Coming to qualitative research, can you throw some light on qualitative research? How qualitative research is of value to you as a product manager?
Yeah, so again, I'll have to cover a few more things before we get into qualitative research. So let's talk about the key capabilities or the key skills that are needed for a product manager. So some of the key traits that we need, right, as a product manager. So again, I always see product management as a mix of arts and science, where you need to be. There are many tools that are available to take care of the needs from the science front, but uh, playing an active role on arts standpoint is something that is of paramount importance of a product manager. So from that angle, just to call an example, right? So if you want to test a particular feature, whether it is going good or wrong, whether it is gaining traction from the user or not. So there are multiple tools available in the market, you have tools for A/B testing, you have the analytic tools, all those things that are there, using which you can understand how the feature has panned out. But to basically define those things, right? Like, for example, A/B test is basically done on two versions of a feature. So to call out those two versions, like, you need empathy, first of all, to collect or to observe or understand from the user, like what is that they are going through. You need to understand their emotions, understand, like, what is their need and what is that they are looking to achieve in their there is a term called jobs to be done. So you basically try to understand, put yourself into the shoes of the customer, and then try to understand what they do. This is where the qualitative thing comes in, right? So the key traits that you need to have as a product manager are something that are not taught in the schools. Something like, those are something that needs to be there within you, and that gets developed over the long period of time. Some of them are like, you need to have your empathy skills right. You need to have the right mindset to develop relationships and maintain that. And you should have good listening skills, and you should have attention to details. That is something that should come naturally. It is not something that is done at the emphasis or something. So it should be there naturally. And you also need to have the curiosity and the strategic mindset. Like, like whatever users you are interviewing with, they are just a sample. So you need to have the larger perspective in mind, and take the strategic route. And also, like, you need to have the curiosity. Other than that, like, some of the tech skills that you need to have are like, you need to have the analytical skills to analyze data and stuffs like that. And like I mentioned, like, you also need to have a sound problem solving skills. So coming from this background, when you talk about qualitative research, right? So I always feel that qualitative methods is something that feeds in for your quantitative research. It's like you go and, like, interview the users and try to understand their perspective. What you get is, like, you try to get their individual perspectives, or like, get to understand their emotions in detail. You kind of try to get their if it is an existing product, you get to know, like, what are the uncovered needs that the users have. And you also try to get, like, what would be the right communication strategy or the marketing strategy when you talk with the user. So basically, you try to build empathy with the users through interviews and stuff like that, which is falling under qualitative research. And after that, like, once you complete your qualitative research, you get to know, like, what are the key things that you need to research about. And after that comes your quantitative data. Like, just to call an example, like, even you have a lot of data within an enterprise and stuffs like that, but what do you do out of the data is something that is a question mark always. So you start with your users, try to understand their emotions and what they are telling, and then you try to define those aspects from the data standpoint. Like, with whatever data you have, you try to derive proxies for what you gained out of the qualitative research and stuffs like that. So I always see qualitative research as something that feeds in a lot of valuable inputs to the quantitative research that you do. And quantitative research is something that you always try to have as a thing that you want to use for substantiating your decision. Like, you go with the decision, and you always have these evidences to substantiate that you make the right decision. And the reverse happen as well. Like, no, you derive the decision from the data insights that you get out of the data. I think that is the important factor that qualitative research plays in the journey of product manager.
Okay. So, John, you as a senior product manager, let's say coming to a feature addition, first point is it always data which defines if that feature should be added? And second thing is, beyond data, how do you convince other stakeholders?
You're talking about a conflicting scenario between
Yeah, let's say business
product and
and
one of the.
you are pretty confident you
Okay.
have some pilot project, some data, but they have, let's say, some vision down the lane, 5 to 10 years. Then how do you convince them, let's say?
So yeah, I'll come to that point a bit later in my answer. But first of all, this is something that needs to be taken proactively rather than a reactive way of doing things. So when something of such conflict is coming up in your way, a product manager should be good enough to catch that early. He or she should be seeing that coming. So that is something that is very important. Like, there is always So there is a thing called North Star metric in product way of operation, right? So you always define what you want to achieve as a product team, like where you involve all these stakeholders and stuffs, and try to define things like your alignment, your direction of the product, and what would be the prioritization and stuffs like that. So you always have a North Star for a product towards which you will be driving the product, and your business stakeholders and other partners would be helping you in that journey. So that is one. You always have this as an evidence. For example, imagine a conflict is arising, so you always go back to the guiding or the North Star that you have, and try to let the business partners know, they should understand, why the feature that you built is more aligning to the North Star than what they have, what they are suggesting you to do. And there is always these prioritization metrics and all those things. So this is how it happens. Like you have a vision of the product, which is your North Star. And to achieve that, you have multiple features and, initiatives that you would be, prioritizing. And if something, comes up all of a sudden, you need to understand how that missed your prioritization stage. If that is of critical thing, it should have been brought up during your prioritization, and you should have prioritized this, prioritize that well in advance. Having said this, when you encounter such scenario, you always no, that's when your stakeholder management comes into play, right? You always you consistently work with your stakeholders to define what needs to be adjusted and what needs to be altered accordingly. So this is something that you should have taken it up during your regular conversations with your business partners, and
Right.
basically that's how you go about it. The point I'm trying to drive home here is nothing should catch you in surprise, is what I'm trying to say. Like you should have seen that coming, and you should have made a way or made an approach to tackle that.
Got it. Talking about prioritization, John, can you tell us how do you prioritize roadmaps?
Again, there are different prioritization techniques available. I try to go with the simple one, which is impact versus the effort that is needed to implement that feature, stuffs like that, be it implementation or be it rolling out, things like that. And basically, my approach is to handle the low hanging fruits first, consistently try to fetch the low hanging fruits in your roadmap. So I think not much of emphasis put on the prioritization technique, but just to create a win-win situation for all the stakeholders that you are working with.
So, John, coming to your day at work, can you just describe a day at your work, your key responsibilities, and how things have changed from PM to senior product manager?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So as a product manager, your help is always needed for all the stakeholders that you work with. So I start my day a little early, like around 8 or 8:30 in the morning, keep my first 2 hours to plan for the day. What I usually go about, planning for daily goals, what needs to be achieved, and to achieve that, who are the key players that would be working towards achieving that. So I connect early with them, try to see if there are any blockers that are on their way, and before they start their day, I usually make sure that they don't have any constraints in going about their business. So that's why I start my day a little early, make sure that things are taken care of from the dependency side. After that, it's more about having an open house with the tech team. So like I always see this as a two-dimensional thing. One is internal product management, another one is external product management, just the activities related to the product management, right? So internal as in I take care of the stakeholders internal, your technical team, your internal business partners and other cross-functional teams that you work with. So I start my day with handling the dependencies, and if the dependent teams need any clarity from me, I usually try to take care of that first, and then go about my product related activities like documentation, backlog grooming, and writing a PRD and stuffs like that. During the second half or towards the evening, I do read a bit about what is happening in the technical world and what is happening in my industry, stuffs like that. And the later part of my evening is for the relationship with the business. It's more towards market facing, what is happening in the market, like from whom I can get the relevant insights for my product that needs to be incorporated and stuffs like that. So that's pretty much about how my day is, purely because my market is US. So my business partners and the other external partners would be active in my evening. That would be their daytime. So that is how I plan. So internal stakeholders in the morning and afternoon, external partners in the evening. So that is how I go about my day. And in terms of transition of responsibilities from product manager to a senior product manager, it's more like, I think the responsibilities remain one and the same. Just some additional things are added in the senior product manager bucket. One is, you when you are a product manager, you take care of your product and you only focus on the product that you work on. But when you transition to the next role, you tend to, or you are expected to take a holistic view, at least at the pillar level, like what is important for the pillar that you work on, stuffs like that. So you take you go to a higher altitude and take a bird's eye view of your pillar, and see and decide what is important, or what is to be prioritized. So that is one thing. And the second thing is mentor few folks when you go to the senior product manager level. That's when you try to catch up with what is happening relevant in the product management field, what the aspiring product managers are having as an input for you. Yeah, you also get to mentor them on their product management journey.
Right. So, John, coming to aspiring product managers, would you recommend them joining an ascent startup?
At least I think I would recommend, because no, I come from that school of thought. Maybe it could be a biased one, but I'm always a strong believer of a steep learning curve that you get in a startup. I had a very steep learning curve, which I'm benefiting even now. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it, right? When you are working with a startup, you have a steep learning curve. That is one thing. You also have the affordability to fail small and early. That is the second thing. And the third thing I would probably say is, you get a holistic view in a startup. Like you have that luxury to see the impact that you make, or the contribution that you do, and what is the business outcome that you are creating. That always gives you that extra motivation to go through that steep learning curve. So I would say that, but eventually, no, in a startup, you don't need to worry about a lot of external factors, a lot of alignment to the organizational, views and strategy, stuffs like that, and collaborating with multiple cross-functional teams who have their own priorities set. So stuffs like that are challenging when you work for a larger organization, which you don't need to encounter at the start of your product management journey. So I think I would say, probably 2-3 years in a startup, when you get to have a good amount of learning in the hardcore product management skills. But eventually, I think the evolution or the growth of product management comes when you start dealing larger teams and handling the relationship among the cross-functional stakeholders and stuffs like that. So you get your basics right in a startup or somewhere like that, which is available in the larger organization as well. But in startup, it happens in a in a streamlined and in a fast track manner. And then you eventually come back managing bigger teams and stuffs.
Coming to mindset, let's say there is a designing mind, there is a marketing mind and a technical mind. Which one thrives in this space? You must have seen many.
I think it's a tricky question. Like I say, just like how we discussed about this startup versus large organization, right? um like my perception, again, it's completely about my perception. So my perception is, so technical skills is something that you need to understand. Certainly it is a good to have as a product manager. So in your early career, or in your early journey into product management, you try to make sure that you understand the technicalities of the product very well. That would give you a lot of confidence as you move further or grow further in your career. But eventually, after 5-7 years in the product management journey, you all need to take that marketing mindset, right? So marketing, or I would rather call it as a market oriented mindset. So you need to understand what is happening in the macroeconomic perspective, what is happening in the industry where your product is operating, stuff like that. So I would say, you start with your technical mindset, which it is good to start with your technical mindset for 2-3 years. You are expected to make a transition or grow into the market mindset. wherein you get the holistic view of what your product is doing, and that's when you can answer a lot of whys about your product, like why should the product do this, why should my product even operate in this particular space. That's when you try to answer those questions. So start with technical mindset. It's good to start with technical mindset if you are in a software product management domain, and eventually transition to the uh, market facing role or market facing mindset or strategy.
So that mostly brings us near the end of this. So one more thing, John, what would be your advice or 2 cents for anyone who is watching this video?
Okay. Um, probably three things I would say. One is again, the hard skills are always there for you to learn and pick up, which is something that you can learn. But like when you are an aspiring product manager, try to get the basics right. Basic as in like the skills that contribute more towards the arts arena of the product management. Like for example, try to have a develop a keen interest to understand people, their emotions, their interest, their preferences about doing things, the cultural aspects among the diverse markets from where people are coming in. I think this would boost your or enhance your empathy and listening skills. Listening is something that is very critical for a product manager. You need to listen when it is needed, and also you need to speak relevant when it is needed. So first would be develop the interest to understand people, and the other aspects that are related to people. Second is, yeah, since I have talked about one from the art side, this time on the science aspect of product management. So try to be data driven, try to deal with data, and try to see how data can substantiate, decisions that you take, and things like that, right? So you also need to focus more on, I also feel that the future of product management would be more towards, data and stuffs. So that is to like try to be data driven. And third would be be as effective as possible in terms of communication. Like eventually, what you do as a product manager is, you are a facilitator, you are an enabler for your team to get the goal achieved, stuff like that. So um try to influence without authority. That is something that is needed at some point of your product management journey. So that is one thing that comes from effective communication. And also you need to be consistently manage your stakeholders better. So stakeholder like effective communication always helps you in stakeholder management as well. So third point would be focus on effective communication. And probably one thing that I'm missing is try to stay relevant, catch up with things that are happening outside, take perspectives from other arenas. Like for example, I always take a lot of perceptions from my wife, who is a doctor. So what you do is no, oh, you hit a bottleneck somewhere in your product management journey, and you take a step back, interact with people, you play with kids, you interact with your friends who are working in finance, HR, whatever it is. You just try to understand how they go about their problem solving, and you take that. You take the abstract out of their approach and apply in your product management skills. So try to stay relevant, learn new things that are happening. And the last thing that you want in your product management journey is to get caught off guard with a lot of jargons and buzzwords. So again, try to stay relevant is the fourth point that I have maybe on this.
That's a very interesting answer which you have given, John. That brings me to the end of it. All of my questions were covered. You explained all of it with great depth in a short span of time. I think it was very simple. I could grasp all of it. I would like to thank you, John, for your time in this video
Yeah,
podcast.
pleasure is mine, Devadatta. Thanks for doing this. Yeah.